I didn't fall in love with him. I disappeared into him. At first, it didn't feel dangerous. It felt like relief, like finally being chosen. He looked at me the way people look at things they're sure won't leave, like I was something he could lean on, something soft enough to bend without breaking. At least not in a way anyone else could see. He told me I was different. Not like the others. Not loud, not demanding, not too much. I didn't realize until later that different meant easier. When we talked, I listened. When he was quiet, I filled the silence with apologies I didn't owe. I learned his moods before I learned my own. I could tell how the night would go just by the way he exhaled when he walked into the room. If he was distant, I tried harder. If he was cold, I shrank. If he smiled, I felt like I'd earned oxygen. He never asked me to change. That's what made it worse. He didn't have to. I changed automatically. I stopped wearing things he didn't compliment. I stopped talking about things he didn't ask about. I stopped reacting when he said things that hurt, because every time I flinched, he looked annoyed, like my pain was an inconvenience. "You're overthinking," he'd say. "You're too sensitive." I was joking. So I learned to laugh at the knife while it was still in my chest. When he pulled away, I chased. When he gave crumbs, I called it a feast. He never promised me anything, but he never let me leave either. Every time I got close to walking away, he'd soften just enough. A text, a late-night call, a reminder that he could be kind if I just behaved correctly. And God, I tried. I stopped arguing, stopped asking questions, stopped expecting consistency. I told myself love was supposed to hurt sometimes. I told myself all relationships had phases. I told myself I was lucky he stayed at all. What I didn't realize was that he only stayed because I stayed quiet. He liked me best when I doubted myself. When I asked him what he thought before deciding what I felt. When my confidence dipped low enough that his approval felt like sunlight. He didn't want to heal me. He wanted to be needed. Every time I started to grow, started setting boundaries, started speaking up, he changed, became distant, became irritated, became bored, like a child who breaks a toy the moment it starts working on its own. "You're not the same anymore," he said once. And for the first time, I heard the threat behind it. I started apologizing for things I hadn't done, for his bad days, for his silence, for the way he treated me when he was unhappy with himself. I thought if I took responsibility for everything, he'd finally be gentle with me. Instead, he became careless. He flirted in front of me and called it harmless. He disappeared for hours and said I was controlling for asking where he'd been. He compared me to people who hurt him before, like I was already guilty of crimes I hadn't committed yet. And still, I stayed. Because leaving meant admitting that love wasn't enough, that I wasn't enough, that all the pieces of myself I'd given away were gone for good. The worst part wasn't how he treated me, it was how I started treating myself. I stopped trusting my instincts. I questioned my memory. I reread messages trying to find where I went wrong. I became smaller in my own life, quieter in my own body. I loved him in survival mode, and he loved that version of me, the one who didn't demand, didn't confront, didn't expect, the one who hated herself just enough to think this was all she deserved. When it ended, it wasn't dramatic. No shouting, no closure, just distance, coldness, a slow fade that left me staring at my phone, wondering how someone could be so present one day and completely gone the next. He moved on quickly. I unraveled slowly. For a long time, I thought I missed him. But I didn't. I missed who I was before I learned to beg for bare minimum affection. I missed the girl who didn't need permission to exist. I missed the version of me that didn't confuse pain with love. Now I know the truth. He didn't love me. He loved who I was when I hated myself, when I was easy to mold, easy to control, easy to keep. And the moment I started remembering my worth, I became impossible to love. For someone like him.